Stepchildren invited strangers over while I was at work and forgot to tell me. I came home to cigarette burns, missing items, and trash in rooms. I mailed the video to their mom and mandated that they cover the damages. Hello everyone, welcome to Reddit Visuals. You ever think people will respect what they didn't earn just because you were decent enough to share it? I did. And that belief cost me thousands of dollars, a few pieces of my sanity, and the illusion that family means the same thing to everyone. I'm 43, a building maintenance supervisor in Denver. Practical guy, steady job, clean place, and up until 2 years ago, a quiet house. Then my fiancée Angela and her two kids, Tyler, 19, and Brooke, 17, moved in. She'd been renting a cramped 2-bedroom apartment across town and said she wanted a fresh start for all of us. I figured, sure, I've got a 3-bedroom house with a garage and a yard. And if we're serious about getting married, it's time to blend our lives. At first, it was fine. Tyler was quiet, spent most of his time gaming in his room. Brooke was polite enough, always had earbuds in, lived on her phone. They were typical teenagers. Angela promised me they were responsible and independent, that I wouldn't even notice they were there most of the time. I believed her. She had this soft-spoken confidence that made you want to believe every word she said. For the first few months, I kept my expectations realistic. Wash your dishes, keep your rooms decent, lock up when you leave, let me know if you're having people over. Simple house rules, basic respect. I'd come home from long shifts to find takeout containers on the counter, lights left on in every room, wet towels on the bathroom floor. Little stuff, the kind of thing you correct gently and move on. But I started noticing the vibe shift whenever I'd actually enforce a boundary. Eye rolls, heavy sighs, that teenage attitude that says, "You're not my real dad," without actually saying it. One Friday afternoon in late September, I told them I'd be working a double shift that weekend. Saturday afternoon through Sunday morning. Building emergency at one of the properties I manage. I specifically said, I don't want anyone over while I'm gone. Not a rule, just common sense. I've got expensive tools in the garage, my home office has rental property files and equipment, and I just feel better knowing it's just you two here. Tyler looked up from his phone for half a second. Yeah, sure thing. Brooke nodded without even taking her earbuds out. I thought that was the end of it. Saturday night I got done earlier than expected, finished up around 10:30 p.m., and headed home. When I pulled into my driveway at 11:15, the first thing I noticed was that the porch light was off. I always leave it on. Always. That was my first clue something was wrong. The second clue was the smell that hit me when I opened the front door cigarette smoke. Sharp, stale, unmistakable. I stepped inside and my stomach dropped. The living room looked like a frat house after a ragger, empty beer cans scattered across the coffee table and kitchen counter, sticky spots on the hardwood floor, a half-eaten pizza box shoved under the couch. But what stopped me cold, what made my blood actually run cold, was the cigarette burn on the armrest of my leather recliner. A perfect circular char mark on the furniture I'd saved up for months to buy. I stood there in total silence. That weird kind of silence where you can't tell if you're furious or just in shock. Then I remembered I'd installed a video doorbell with a camera 6 months ago. I pulled out my phone and opened the app, scrolling back through the footage from that evening. What I saw made my hands shake. Starting around 7 p.m., kids I'd never seen before started showing up, one after another. By 8 o'clock, there were at least 15 people in my house. Coolers being carried in, cases of beer. I watched Tyler do a shot in my kitchen while 3 guys I didn't know cheered him on. I watched Brooke dance on my coffee table, the same table my dad built for me before he passed. I watched strangers walk in and out of my home office. I watched someone prop open my garage door. I didn't yell. Not yet. I just started taking pictures. Every room, every stain, every piece of damage. I went through the whole house methodically, documenting everything like I was doing a maintenance inspection. The living room beer stains on the couch, that cigarette burn, a dent in the drywall where something had been thrown. The kitchen broken glass swept into the corner, a cracked plate in the sink, the trash overflowing. My home office desk drawers hanging open, papers scattered everywhere, and my laptop was missing. My work laptop with client files, property access codes, everything. Gone. I checked the garage. My toolbox had been forced open, the lock was bent and broken. My cordless drill, the impact driver, a socket set, all missing. I kept an emergency cash box in there, tucked behind some paint cans. $380. Gone. Then I walked into the guest room, the one I'd spent 2 months renovating so Angela's mother could stay comfortably when she visited. The carpet was soaked completely drenched with what smelled like beer and God knows what else. There was vomit in the corner that someone had tried to cover with a towel, and on the mirror, someone had written "Party Legend" in what looked like lipstick. I took pictures of everything. Then I sat down on my couch, in the middle of the wreckage of my own home, and I texted Angela, who was on a 4-day work trip in Phoenix for some conference. "Call me when you land tomorrow. It's urgent. The house is destroyed." No reply. She was probably already asleep. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up cleaning up the broken glass, dumping out the beer cans, trying to scrub the stains out of my furniture. By 6 a.m., I'd made a list of everything that was damaged or missing. By 7, I'd downloaded all the security footage onto a flash drive. Around 9 in the morning, I heard footsteps upstairs. Tyler came down first, wearing basketball shorts and a hoodie, walking into the kitchen like nothing had happened. He opened the fridge, grabbed the orange juice, and started making eggs. Brooke came down 10 minutes later, phone in hand, scrolling. She sat at the table without looking up. I was sitting in the living room, laptop open, security footage queued up on the TV. "Rough night?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. Tyler shrugged, not even looking at me. "Just had a couple friends over. No big deal." "A couple friends," I repeated slowly. "That's interesting." I hit play on the TV remote. The footage started playing on the big screen. 7 p.m. timestamp. Kids walking in the front door carrying cases of beer. 8 p.m. Tyler doing shots. Brooke on the coffee table. 9 p.m. Someone opening my office door. 10 p.m. 2 guys carrying my toolbox out to a car. The color drained from Tyler's face. Brooke looked up from her phone, eyes wide, mouth open. "That's funny," I said. "Looks like more than a couple people to me. Looks like about 15, maybe 20 people I've never seen before. Destroying my house." Brooke started to say something. "We were going to clean up, I held up my hand. "I don't want to hear it. I want the name of every single person who was in this house last night. Right now." Tyler stammered. I don't know everyone's name." "Then you better start remembering. Because someone stole my work laptop, my tools, and $380 cash, and I've got every second of it on video." Brooke started crying. "We didn't know people were stealing stuff." "You invited them into my home," I said, my voice rising now. "You threw a party after I specifically told you not to have anyone over. You let strangers into my office, my garage, rooms you had no business even being in. So yeah, Brooke, you didn't steal my stuff, but you opened the door for the people who did." Tyler tried to argue. "You're blowing this way out of proportion." "Get out," I said. "What?" "Get out, both of you. Pack a bag. You're going to your dad's until I figure out how much this is going to cost me." Brooke screamed that I was overreacting. Tyler called me controlling, said I couldn't kick them out. I pulled out my phone and called their father Angela's ex-husband, Marcus. He lived about 30 minutes away. I'd met him twice. Nice enough guy, paid his child support on time, but wasn't really involved day to day. "Marcus, it's David. I need you to come pick up your kids. Now." He sounded confused. "What's going on?" "They threw a party at my house, destroyed a bunch of my property, and I need them out of here before I say something I regret." Silence. "Then, I'll be there in 40 minutes. Tyler and Brooke stood there staring at me like I'd just told them they were being shipped off to military school. I pointed upstairs. "Pack a bag. You've got 35 minutes. They stomped upstairs. I heard doors slamming, muffled arguing. I didn't care. I sat back down and started itemizing damages on a spreadsheet. When Marcus arrived, he took one look at the house, even partially cleaned up. It still looked rough, and his face went hard. "Jesus Christ," he muttered. He looked at his kids standing in the doorway with backpacks. "Get in the car. We'll talk about this at home." I handed him a USB drive. Security footage. Might want to watch it before they spin you some story about how I'm the bad guy here." He took it, nodded, and left. The house was silent again. Angela called 2 hours later. I'd sent her a text that just said, "Call me when you get this." "David, what happened?" "I got your text. Is everyone okay?" I didn't sugarcoat it. "Your kids threw a party last night while I was at work. There were at least 20 people here. My house is trashed. My work laptop is gone. My tools are gone. $380 in cash is gone, and there's a cigarette burn on my leather recliner." Silence. "Are you serious?" "I've got video footage of the entire thing. I'm sending it to you right now." I pulled up my email and attached the zip file, 50 photos, and the full security footage. "You need to see this before you try to defend them." I hit send. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. "David, Her voice was shaking. "I just saw the video. I can't believe how could they do this." "I don't know, Angela." But they did, and I told them to pack up and go to Marcus's until we figure this out. "You sent them to Marcus's?" "Yeah, because I'm not staying in this house with them right now. I don't trust them. And honestly, I don't trust you to hold them accountable." That hit her. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? You told me they were responsible. You told me they were mature. You told me I could trust them. And look what happened the first time I left them alone." She started crying. "I'm so sorry. I'll talk to them. I'll make them apologize." "I don't want an apology. I want reimbursement. I'm getting estimates on everything. The cleaning, the repairs, the stolen items. And I expect you to cover it before they step foot back in this house." "David, I don't have that kind of money right now." "Then figure it out, because until this is paid for, they're not welcome here." She hung up without saying goodbye. For 3 days, I didn't hear anything. I filed a police report about the stolen laptop, and tools gave them the security footage, descriptions, everything. The officer said they'd follow up, but not to get my hopes up. Most stolen electronics never get recovered. On day 4, I got a text from Tyler. "We didn't mean for it to get out of control. Mom says we'll help clean up." I replied, "Too late. Already hired a professional cleaner. You can reimburse me." On day 5, Angela came back from Phoenix. She walked into the house, looked around. I'd had the carpets professionally cleaned, the walls scrubbed, but you could still see the cigarette burn, the dent in the wall, and her face crumpled. "They really did this," she whispered. "Yeah, they really did." She sat down on the couch, head in her hands. I talked to Marcus. He watched the video. He's furious. Tyler's grounded indefinitely. Brooke's in therapy. "Good. That's a start." She looked up at me. "How much is this going to cost?" I handed her the printed invoice. Professional carpet cleaning, $250. Wall repair and repainting, $300. Furniture repair on the recliner, $200. Deep cleaning service for the whole house, $450. Replacing the broken lock on my toolbox, $80. And the missing cash, $380. That's $1,660 total. And that's not even counting my laptop and tools, which I filed an insurance claim for. Her face went pale. "David, I don't have that kind of money." "Then make a payment plan. But until it's paid, they don't come back." She stood up, angry now. "You can't just kick my kids out permanently." "I'm not. I'm setting a boundary. They destroyed my home. There are consequences for that." She grabbed her purse and walked out. A week later, an envelope showed up in my mailbox. Inside was a check for $400 and a note in Angela's handwriting. "This is all I can do right now. Please, can we move past this?" I didn't cash the check. Instead, I mailed it back to her with a copy of the itemized invoice and a simple note. "This isn't about money. It's about accountability." That must have gotten to her, because the next day she called me crying. "You're going to ruin their lives over this. They made a mistake." A mistake is forgetting to lock the door. This was a choice. They chose to lie to me, throw a party, and let strangers steal from me. And you're choosing to minimize it instead of holding them accountable. She hung up. 3 weeks went by. I worked, came home to my quiet house, and tried to process what had happened. Then one afternoon, I got a call from a Denver police detective. "Mr. Harrison, this is Detective Morales. We recovered some items that match your police report. Can you come down to the station and identify them?" I went down that afternoon. Spread out on a table in an evidence room were my drill, my impact driver, and my socket set. I confirmed they were mine. I'd engraved my initials on them years ago. "Where did you find these?" I asked. "Pawn shop on Colfax. The guy who pawned them matched the description from your security footage. We've got him in custody. He's cooperating. Says he got the tools from Tyler, your fiance's son, at the party." My stomach sank. Tyler gave them to him? According to the suspect, yes. Tyler told him he could have them. We're not pressing charges against Tyler since he's not the one who pawned them and claims he didn't know they'd be sold. But I wanted you to know. I drove home in a daze. Tyler had given away my tools, not stolen them himself, but handed them off to someone who did. That was almost worse. That night, I forwarded the detective's information to Angela with one line: "Your son gave my tools away." She called me immediately. He said it was a misunderstanding. "Stop, just stop. He's 19 years old. He knew exactly what he was doing." Silence. "I think we're done here, Angela." "What do you mean?" "I mean this isn't working. You and your kids can stay at Marcus's or with your sister or wherever, but I'm done pretending we're building a future together when you won't even hold your own children accountable." "David, please. I'm serious. I need space. Take your time moving your stuff out. But we're done." I hung up. For a month, I lived in that house alone. Angela moved in with her sister across town. Tyler stayed with his dad. I heard through mutual friends that Brooke had gotten suspended from school for vaping in the bathroom. Apparently, the party wasn't her first bad decision lately. Just the first one I'd witnessed. Then one Saturday morning, there was a knock on my door. It was Angela. She looked different, tired, older somehow, like the weight of the last month had aged her. "Can I come in?" I hesitated, then stepped aside. We sat in the living room, the same living room her kids had trashed. She looked around like she was seeing it for the first time. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she said quietly. "And you were right. I wasn't holding them accountable. I was making excuses because I didn't want to believe my kids could do something like this. But they did, and I let them." I didn't say anything. I talked to Tyler, really talked to him, showed him the footage again, made him walk me through every decision he made that night. He admitted he invited people, that he knew it would get out of hand, and he did it anyway because he wanted to look cool. He said he gave your tools to that guy because the guy asked for something valuable, and Tyler didn't want to say no. "Jesus," I muttered. "I know. Brooke's in therapy now. Tyler's working part-time to start paying you back. I want to make this right, David. I don't know if we can fix us, but I need you to know I'm not making excuses anymore." She slid an envelope across the coffee table. Inside was a check for $800. "It's half of what I owe you. The other half will come in 2 months when I get my bonus. I'm not asking you to forgive me or take me back. I just needed you to see that I heard you." I looked at the check, then at her. She looked sincere. Broken, but sincere. "Thank you," I said. She stood to leave, then paused at the door. "Tyler wanted me to give you this." She handed me a small box. Inside was my father's old pocket knife, the one I kept in my office drawer. I hadn't even realized it was missing. Brooke had it in her bag. She said she picked it up during the party, thought it looked cool. She's been too scared to return it, but she wanted you to have it back. I held the knife, running my thumb over the worn handle. "My dad gave me this when I was 16. It wasn't worth much, but it was irreplaceable." "Tell her thank you," I said. Angela nodded and left. That night, I sat on my porch with a beer, looking at the knife. I thought about Angela, about Tyler and Brooke, about the month from hell I'd just lived through, and I realized something. I didn't want them back, not because I was angry anymore, but because I'd remembered what peace felt like. A week later, Angela and I met for coffee. We talked for 2 hours. We agreed to end the engagement. She apologized again. I told her I hoped her kids learned from this. We parted on good terms. No drama, no hatred. Just two people who realized they weren't meant to build a life together. 3 months later, Tyler sent me a Venmo payment for $200 with a note. First installment. I'm sorry. Over the next year, he sent payments every few months until the debt was paid in full. I never asked him to. He just did it. I still live in that house. The cigarette burn is still faintly visible on the recliner if you know where to look. I keep it that way on purpose. It reminds me of the night I stopped confusing kindness with permission and the cost of trusting people who haven't earned it. So tell me, Reddit, was I wrong for kicking them out, demanding repayment, and ending my engagement over this? Should I have been more forgiving, or was this the only way to teach accountability? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you would have done in my position. And if you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to Reddit Visuals. It helps the channel grow and keeps more real stories like this coming your way. Thanks for watching.